All right, so we are back on the progress series of things. What you're seeing right now is me trying to figure out how to make cards out of an Infernus cards and how to make a deck out of Infernus cards and whatever other cards I can put together. But for the first two, I have created. I don't know if I showed this already. I probably didn't, but I was just going basic here, and what I did was I created a deck called Gale, Grass, Discard. So Gale meaning wind, and then Grass, and then Discard because most of the brunt of the deck relies on discarding abilities. So most of these the thing I'm focusing on is Tostarian the Gale. Okay, he has the ability to discard Ventus Gear, and when he does that, he does a Ventus Field fetch of 1, which allows him to search out a field. Oh, that's a strike. I gotta change that then. But yeah, he'll be able to search out like a Ventus field event. So I gotta change that to something else. As a matter of fact, let me do that right now. Okay, let's try this again. So it was here. Okay, so let's take that out, and hopefully that will let me put it in. All right, now this is the only field, so it's the only viable thing that'll work. Active value Ventus size lost 1. Okay, so it cost down. Strike damage heals Ventus damage. Okay, strike gain 10 this phase, and gear draw 1. Okay, not bad. That's kind of what we wanted. And then while there's an active Ventus field, you can discard one of any card, and it can strike twice. So that's why I put the Verdant in here, because Verdant is very good at drawing a lot of cards very quickly with the use of Supersede. Supersede, you can equip this card to a Verdant creature and then discard it. You can draw Verdant gear equal to the creature's cost. Oak Talent being 4, so that means you would be able to draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you'd have about 9 other options to go through just to have cards in your hand to discard if you didn't want to use Ventus or Verdant in general or as backup. But either way, the secondary point would be to get them into the field or get them into the discard pile in order to use, what is it? Yes, here, Deep Rooting. Sorry, it's sideways. I'll try and edit it to where you can see it the right way. But anyways, strike and guard gain 5 for each Verdant card in your fell zone. I should probably put active ally Verdant because that implies that any creature would just get strike and guard gain 5, which is not possible. The first thing would be to use Tostarian the Gale in order to discard a card like every turn in order to attack twice. And then the second would be once you have enough cards in a discard pile, enough Verdant cards in a discard pile, whether that be creature or gear, then, oh my god, this mouse is sensitive. Then you would be able to use Deep Rooting by playing Oak Talon, and he would be able to search a Verdant field event, which this is a field event. And then you would be able to boost your power by having, like, a bunch of Verdant cards in the discard pile. So, like, I'm guessing mid to late game, you would have a strong set of monsters that could just be put on the field and have high power. And then Botany Box Mandragora, her ability of striking twice would come whenever, like, Very Shrewdy or some other cost 2 ally. Does it matter what kind of ally? No. So you could put any other size 2 ally, but Very Shrewdy searches Supersede so that you could get the draws in quickly to afford discarding whatever you don't want to use. And then it's a size 2 creature, so if it ever gets defeated while Mandragora is on the board, then she can strike twice. I don't think there's a way to have them both on the board at the same time, so it's like, okay, which one are you going to start with and which one are you going to end with and all that stuff. For the second one, and these aren't perfect either. Like, I don't know how well they work. I don't know if this is too many monsters or too little monsters. So it's like, okay, once I actually get a play in and figure out how this works, we can figure out, how much and how little of something you need. But for another one, I did Harpy Mandragora. So I stuck with Verdant and Plant since I already had the files out, so it'd be very easy for me to figure these things out. What I did was, again, I stuck with going max for whatever it is that they were based upon, which is the Harpies. The Harpies have the ability to not be blocked or negated by gear. So cards like any of the barrier cards that would like say negate doesn't affect them, but they can still be affected by cards like Snare Vines, which doesn't negate or block anything. It just taps them, which stops them from doing any kind of attack. So it's like there's a work around stopping these things. They're not unstoppable. So the main theme is avians. The secondary theme is plants. So to help out the avians, they got Skydive Assault, which gives avians a range gain of 1, but they lose 10 guard. They reduce their cost by 1, and they can move across the board 2 times instead of 1 time. That's what Shift 2 is. And then any rival that's striking an avian loses 1 range, so it's a little bit harder to hit them until the end phase, so it's only for like a turn. And then during the strike phase, active ally avian strike 2. Now I might change that to strike 1 instead of strike 2 because that might be a little bit overkill. You'd have strike 2 here, then the Sharp Talon is strike 2 as well. So it's like, okay, I can put the field card to like strike 1 and then put Sharp Talon maybe to strike 1 or leave it as strike 2, so that way it would be strike 3. But I'm definitely going to change the field to strike 1 and then, or I'm just going to change the event to strike 1 and then keep the Talon at strike 2 and see how well that works. Other things is the fact that you have Cyclone Shield. When you equip this card and you discard it, a targeting rival, so a rival that's attacking any of these creatures, if these creatures, any of these creatures, not just Ventus, but if any of these creatures has this card equipped and they unequip it or disgear it while you're being attacked, you can reduce the range of that rival by 2 until the next end phase. The next end phase might be a little too long. I might do, but we still have to see how it goes. It'll be interesting to figure that out. What else is here? Supersede, again, Supersede allows for verdant creatures to attack twice when there is a verdant field, which this is, which will be very easy to get with Oak Talon Ent. The only thing is you have to summon it. You can't just preset it on the board before the game starts. So, that's to keep that from being a little overpowered and broken. Other cards that I put in are Blowback. Blowback allows you to pretty much send rivals back on the board if your opponent has more monsters than you do. When a rival targets an ally, there are more rivals and allies. Have all Ventus allies until that. Yeah. So basically, you can just send back monsters based on how many allies you have or how many Ventus allies you have and their range. So the majority is a range of 2. But with Skydive Assault, they would have a range of 3, meaning that they would have a wider board vision presence or whatever. So if you were to put 1 on each side, then you'd pretty much have the entire board covered, and you could swipe all of your opponent's monsters back to the board. But there is, the whole thing about, the barriers preventing abilities and stuff from being affected. So there is still a bit of interaction there. It's not just you get to automatically do that and then it's all clear for striking. Other cards include Valthorn Mandragora. Valthorn Mandragora is simply for stall. That's what she's best at. You could have 2 of them on the board at the same time just to like do longer stalling, but you won't be able to do much more than that. I mean, I guess if there's size loss 1, that's 101, it's 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, so you could do, if you were to play this, if you were to play Lush Jungle, you could play 2 Valthorn Mandragoras. That would be at the cost of 1. And then you could play a Botany Boxer Mandragora. That would be at the cost of 2 once it's summoned to the field. That would be 3. Yeah, that would be 1, 2. That'd be 1, 2, and 3. And then you could summon a Talon Harvey, which would make 5. So that's actually a pretty good presence of monsters right there. And it's all using like different cards, not the same attribute cards. So I wonder if it works backwards. I'd rather image ranging 1, guard loss 10, size loss 1, shift 2. Size loss 1. Okay. So let's see this. Snatch Harpy would be at a 2. Talon Harpy would be at 1. And another Talon Harpy would be at a 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's about as far as it would go. So what if we did Snatch Harpy and 2 Mandragoras? That would definitely work. It would be Mandragora at 1, Mandragora at 1, and then Snatch Harpy at 2. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I might have overcounted the first one. Yeah, you still need to have the ability to put the creature on the board at cost summon before it hits the field and lowers its cost. So yeah, you probably only get like 3 creatures on the board, which That's more than fine. I mean, 2 Mandragores on the field and then some big hitter would just be enough for you to do some damage and probably get at your opponent, is what I'm guessing. But again, I got to do all this stuff when I like actually get some playtest in. But right now, this was just for progress report on what I'm doing. Now that I finally got the cards somewhat done, some of the cards still need some editing, which I can't look through every single card and then be like, okay, this needs editing, this needs editing. I'm just gonna build the decks and then I'm gonna be like, okay, this could work, but this might have to be fixed or this might have to be fixed, and then I can just change it that way. And luckily, because they're all the same file, all I have to do is just change the card, update the save from wherever it is I make it, and then the card will automatically be changed within the deck itself, so I don't have to like re-edit the decks or anything, which was great. But yeah, this is a bit of a sneak peek as to what I want to try and do for like my 50 subscriber thing. I want to make like a whole thing where I not only explain the decks, but I get to play them with people and test them out to see if the game does work the way that it should, to the point of allowing me to progress to a second series so that I can make more cards for better support. But until then, I will be making more videos that explain more decks and up to the point of making the actual 50 subscriber special video, fantastical, phantasma, whatever. But for now, I will call it here, and I will see you in the next one.